The reason why I wanted to do this call with you is because there's a lot of women out there who are considering changing careers. Maybe they've started the process, maybe they're struggling with the process, but ultimately there is something that's stopping them from being successful in changing careers. Maybe it's something in the job search process. Like there's something, lack of clarity, lack of confidence. And I know that you were in a very similar position when we initially talked. So I would like to give everyone a little bit more insight into what's possible for them because you've been very successful in one of our programs. So the first question I have for you is, can you give us a little bit of background around your initial career goals? Like when you and I first contacted each other, I think it was on LinkedIn. What was your career at the time? What kind of things were you hoping to accomplish and struggling with as well?
At that time when you and I first spoke, we had a commonality where I wanted to make a change and you have made a change. And so learning from you and listening to you helped me make that move into where I understood what was going to happen. But at that point in my career, I had been a teacher for 15 years almost, and I wanted something different. I wanted to reach a broader audience. I wanted to be able to use my skill set in a different way, but also in a more meaningful way. Not that my
Mhm.
job wasn't meaningful, but in a more meaningful
Yep.
way for me to fulfill myself as well.
Yep.
And I was struggling because any career change is difficult, but if you don't know where you need to go or where you need to look and how, that's where I was having difficulty because I didn't
Mhm.
feel comfortable applying for certain positions because I didn't feel that I was worthy of those positions or that
Mhm.
I would make that transferable skill valid.
Right.
So I was
Yep.
having that major difficulty being able to do that, and I'm
Absolutely.
glad that we met.
Yes, me too. So it sounds like, you obviously outgrew your career as a teacher. At some point, you realized that it just wasn't right for you. Maybe it was at one point, but you outgrew it and you knew that it was time for a change, time for something bigger, something better, something that just ultimately fulfilled you more and gave you more of what you needed. But you were feeling lost in like how to begin the process, how to like go about, making a career change. Did you feel that maybe shifting directions was maybe going to be really difficult for you because you lacked direct experience? Was that ever a factor for you?
Yes, it was. Looking at the different positions that were out there and were available, I didn't think that I could actually do those things that were expected in those positions, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that I was capable. But through Girl Work It and working with your program, I know that it's possible.
Absolutely. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Where was there something specific that we helped you with to to leverage your indirect experiences and help you to be more qualified, maybe even like translating and transferring your skills? Like what were some things on the back end that we helped you with to better clarify the positions that you were qualified for that maybe initially you weren't sure that you were qualified for?
Yes, in working through your program and with Prachi, having her as an expert to talk to and help, even with our first initial conversation after you and I spoke, the confidence that she instilled in me just in
Mm,
that first conversation with her,
yep.
it helped me to understand that I am capable of those positions, and she understood what I had been doing and how that
Mhm.
translated into A, B, and C for those positions that I felt that I couldn't do. But I was really doing them. They were
Right.
things that I could do in
Yeah.
that new position. And throughout having those conversations and the different topics and learning how to navigate the corporate world of job search,
Hmm.
I believe that I have become a better, not only more confident, but a better searcher and a better person to understand what translates into different things in those positions that I was wanting to apply for. And even on the back end of after I did talk with Prachi and learn about the different things that I needed to learn about, she continued to follow up and make sure that I was continuing and to not lose hope, to keep going, and just that it was going to come.
When it comes to having that one-on-one guidance and support, motivation, empowerment from somebody who is on your side, on your team, essentially working for the same goal, who has, you know, helped others before, so they have the expertise, the knowledge to guide you. I feel like that's an invaluable, you know, thing to invest in is that one-on-one support. And then behind the scenes, like you said, we helped you to gain those technical skills and confidence and all of that. In that initial discussion that you had with Prachi, are you referring to the career discovery session, career clarity?
Yeah. Yes, the career discovery session was amazing. I remember I was writing down so many things that I could translate my or positions, careers that I could translate my goals to.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming in a sense, but it was a good overwhelming, because I knew that there was something out there for me. I just had to figure out where I needed to go, where I needed to narrow it down to what would fulfill me. Like you said in the beginning, where you know, my previous career was not as fulfilling as it used to be.
Exactly. Do you feel like as a result of that career discovery session that you had narrowed down at least some different best fitting career options and like gained that clarity that you had been needing and not feeling so overwhelmed?
Yes, definitely. I had pages of different avenues that I could take, whether it be, you know, HR or executive, different fields, and I was so happy at that point because I knew that I could look at those two lists and say, okay, A, B, and C are something that I could do, but I could also do this over here because they kind of mesh, or they're in my wheelhouse, I would say, that I like to do. Right. So that session was a very big eye opener, and it did help me. I
almost can't put it into words, right? Yeah. It's like what I like to explain it as in terms of an analogy would be like you initially, before us working together, you were able to see maybe the tip of the iceberg or like a couple of different careers that you were a good fit for, but at the same time, it was still not clear to you. And then once we started working together, we were able to show you like the whole iceberg and show you that there were like so many other avenues and options out there for you, but at the same time, help you like really chip away at these different career options and identify maybe one or two industries along with like the different job titles that you would be qualified for. And then after that, we helped you with rebranding your career portfolio, right? Like your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your online presence. What did you think about that?
I loved that. That in itself built my confidence even more because I knew that I had a wealth of knowledge, but I didn't know how to portray it. And even the support that I had in different things, I even cleaned out my office and found even more things and aspects of myself that I could put onto my LinkedIn profile. And it was great to be able to run it by someone and they say, that's great, put it there because this is amazing. And I've said it to many people, you know, you have your family, but they're your family, but you have somebody like Prachi and you in your corner who has done everything and helped people. That is a very meaningful, having somebody that is professional and understands things. To have that person be in your corner is amazing, and to have that support is not better than your family, but it's right there.
Absolutely. You know, and that's kind of the vibe that we want all of our clients. And, you know, we're hoping that you had too, is that, you know, we're on your team. Like I said before, we're rooting for you. We're cheering for you. We're your biggest cheerleader. We're your number one fan. We're your friend, but also your coach at the same time. And we don't hesitate to give you like honest, direct feedback because we want to see you win. So I'm super happy that you experienced that with us, and that you were able to just feel so supported, because I feel like that's what so many women are missing. And when it comes to your career portfolio, you said it perfectly, like seeing seeing your your skill sets, your areas of expertise, your qualifications, like really clearly articulated and translated towards the career goals that we helped you identify in that excuse me, initial career discovery session. Like, let's talk a little bit more about the results that you achieved with that one. So we talked about like developing more confidence, more clarity. What were some other like transformational results aside from like getting interviews? We'll talk about that in a moment. But like, how did this really help you, I guess, to feel better about yourself? Did it like increase your self-worth? Did it boost, other areas that that allowed you to kind of feel like you made a breakthrough and that you're able to explore your potential a little bit more now?
You hit the nail right on the head. It throughout these meetings that I was having and talking through different things that I was having difficulty with. One of them was nervousness that I wasn't going to be able to portray that I understand how to do A, B, and C. And that does translate into your position that I was, the position that I would be interviewing for. So, having to build that confidence in myself that I'm able to conversationally, man, I can't, it makes me speechless because it's so awesome. The transformation that I had where I was able to convey what I wanted to show the companies that I was wanting to join, and the confidence that I was able to do that has translated into my life where I've looked at different things and I've been able to say, oh, I can do that. I understand that I am capable. I can do more than I thought I could. And coming from, being a teacher and doing all of the things that you do with that, it translates into a plethora of things. And I needed that boost and that confidence in order to portray myself as such. So I think that overall, all of the conversations that I had, a lot of it was the nerves of being able to do what I needed to do, whether it be reaching out to people after I had done, sent in my application, doing all of those different steps that I learned. That all had to do with confidence. And if I didn't have the confidence to reach out to people, I wouldn't have a job interview at 5 o'clock today. So, and somebody in the back with the pom-poms cheering. So hey,
exactly.
So the whole entire thing, it helped me be more confident. I'm in a better mental state because of that, and I've remained there. I've not. Yes, maybe it's taken some time to transition into another career, but the time that was there it had a purpose, and it's the process and. The process, if you trusting
it, exactly. When it comes to changing careers, just as you've said, it's not necessarily about acquiring a new job, right away. There's a lot of transformation that needs to happen before that, and on a deeper level, like with confidence and with rebranding yourself and with really just getting like a clear vision of where you're going and what you're capable of doing and what skills you bring to the table and how you can use that moving forward. And I think that we accomplished that with you initially. And obviously you're getting interviews and I have, 100% confidence, 150% confidence that you will transition into a great career opportunity that is perfect for you. But as you can see, that's kind of not the end all be all, right? Would you say that it's kind of like a holistic approach to like advancing, reinventing your career that you feel you learned the most from, and that's been the most valuable from this experience so far?
Yes. And having the knowledge that this is just the beginning and that there are steps after to better myself even more and to those steps to continue taking. And it's not just, oh, I have a job and I'm done. No, you can continue to
Mm-hmm.
continue to create your presence and become a better
Yes.
person, and you've learned more, so you have more value, and that you should continue on and don't just become stagnant. Always,
Exactly. Right.
consider yourself becoming more and more better as time goes on.
Yes. Something that I try and tell every woman that I come in contact with, because there's a lot of people out there that do acquire new jobs. They change careers without getting career coaching or mentorship or help, right? However, in those cases, those women unfortunately usually end up finding themselves stagnant or wanting a change sooner than they probably should. And they rarely ever reach fulfillment. And because they're not planning, they're not setting goals, they don't have a specific strategy in place to continue advancing beyond this next step. They don't have the tools to continue, developing their career as workforce trends come through and different things are changing in the job market and with certain industries and technology. And, so it's really important, like you said, to be able to, like grab your career by the horns and like feel confident in directing it and taking it wherever is going to be best for you. When it comes to the interviews you've landed, and you have an interview today, I know, what types of careers have you been pursuing, coming from being a teacher? What types of jobs have you been applying to, and what types of careers did we help to rebrand you to be qualified for?
I have been applying for recruiting positions and instructional designer, instruction type, that whole umbrella of instruction in the corporate world, as well as like program management and customer success. I've been
Mm-hmm.
applying to those everywhere. So, and they've all wonderfully, they're all remote, so which is great.
Yes. Yes.
But so I don't have to worry about that aspect. But
Mm-hmm.
those are the main positions that I narrowed down my search for, and I feel that my skills translate well into those.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you pursuing like higher level leadership or management positions?
Though currently one of the positions that I have applied for is a senior level.
Mm-hmm.
So
Really.
I have not been afraid to apply for those, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel as I have degrees and the expertise and the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, I can take those and transfer them into those actual roles at a higher level, that it doesn't just go to the wayside, that my experience is valued. It does have a
Absolutely. Did you think before working with us that you could ever qualify for a senior level position or any of those positions or industries that you're pursuing now?
no. That's a very definitive. I had no clue. I had no direction. I was basically just throwing things everywhere, and I had no sense. I was just doing it because I knew that I needed a change, but I had no
Right.
direction. I had no guidance, and
Yep.
I knew that I needed some help,
Yes.
because nothing was coming of what I needed to
Uh-huh.
portray myself as,
Yep.
and now I know that I can do that, and
Absolutely. Yep. You're giving me chills again. That's amazing. How long had you been looking or trying to make a career change or looking for a new job before you contacted us? Do you remember?
yes. It had been about a 6 months,
6 months.
I
Okay.
would say, before, and again, that was just me throwing things out there and not translating anything, not doing anything to better myself or show or portray myself as such, or
Right.
as the position needed. So I was just
Uh-huh.
throwing things out there and had no, I guess, bait on my hook.
I think it's not because you didn't want to succeed. Of course, you wanted to progress and succeed, but do you feel that it was just because you lacked clarity and having a clear plan of action and knowing the steps to take to get you to where you wanted to be, or even knowing what you wanted to do? Do you feel like that's what was holding you back? But like you just knew that you had to kind of frantically put yourself out there. It wasn't because you didn't want to succeed, but do you
Right.
feel like it was because you lacked that clarity mostly?
I did lack the clarity. And like we said about the discovery call that I did with Prachi, that was an eye-opening moment for me, to where I realized that I needed to have a specific, not necessarily one specific area that I needed to look at, but I needed to narrow it down, and I couldn't just blindly apply for different things. I needed to be able to translate myself. And at that point, I didn't have anything that portrayed myself as a person that could compete with other people who have been doing those positions for a while.
Absolutely. And now you can, because
yes,
you're confident and you know you're qualified. That's amazing. When we initially contacted each other, you had mentioned that you were looking for help with just your resume, I believe, right? And so
yes,
that's a common, I think, a common thing that a lot of women I speak to who are looking to change careers, they focus on, and they tinker with their resume nonstop. They spend way too much time on it. And I feel like you were in a similar position. What has changed in regard to you realizing that this is changing careers is actually a kind of like a multi-component approach, like a holistic approach? There's more that goes into it. You know, you've got the networking part, selling and marketing yourself, rebranding. But before, you were just focusing on your resume, right? So like, what shifted for you with that?
I think once I talked with you and I talked with Prachi, the shift came when I looked at my resume and I saw it didn't sell me. And when I spoke with both of you, I could understand how and why I wasn't being successful, because those words that were describing me had nothing to do with what I could do. It's what I did. And it was sad, because I know that as a person, I am not one to do things halfway. I want to make sure that I'm doing them correctly. And I think after talking with you the first couple times and then talking with Prachi, it was, okay, this is not just one piece. I do need help, because anybody can work on a resume, but if you don't have the skills and the knowledge to back it up and say, I can do this, I think that's a major component. And having the program that you have helped me to understand, and that mind set changed, and I shifted into, it's not just the one thing, it's not just the resume, it's everything. It's how you go about doing things, and even internally myself, you know, building the confidence and everything.
So that's huge. That's so powerful, because so many women are just, when they want to change careers, they just go to their resume because that's all we know, right? It's like the career transition process, not only is it constantly changing and evolving as the job market changes, the world changes, but, you know, we're not taught this stuff in formal education. And that's why, as you can see now, resume writing certifications and formal training exists, is because it really does require an entirely new skill set and toolbox to be able to translate your skills, to be able to articulate them, to be able to, you know, transfer your experiences into specific industry related keywords and corporate terminology. And, you know, you thought that you could possibly do that on your own before, but realizing like the extent of skills that it requires to do it the right way, and that your resume shouldn't just talk about your experiences, but it needs to market and sell you for positions, and to do a really good job at that, you know, to outperform other people. I think that was a huge shift that you went through, it sounds like.
Yes, it was. And it was awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
I knew I had to do work, but it was awesome. So, and I was willing to do the process. I feel very grateful for the fact that I did decide to join Girl Work It, because the tools that I've learned were not only for career search, but they were for life. So to keep persevering and to keep going, and don't give up, because it's going to happen. You just have to be able to move from A to B, and it's possible.
That was really powerful, and I think a lot of women can certainly relate to you.
The most helpful for me, I would say, is the discovery call that I had, where I obviously meeting you first, but then then
Yeah.
the discovery call, and learning that I was capable of so much more, and then having the resume be able to portray who I really was and what I was capable of, and not have to worry about going back and keep going, and ever doing it all over and over and over again
Right.
was something that was amazing for me, as well. But the support of the having the calls for the interview practice, working on how to answer certain questions and how to show yourself in a light that is what the companies want to see, is something that I really, really was lacking, because in my previous career, we didn't have to interview as much, and it was, oh yes, we know you can do ABC, let's go.
Right.
But
Right.
Having been at practice for interviewing, I now have a lot of practice, and I feel very confident going into my interviews, and that I have the knowledge and the ability to talk to somebody about myself. I wasn't confident. I knew I could do things, and that I'm awesome, but being able to portray that to somebody and saying it in a very eloquent way and talking about yourself was something that I wasn't able to do. But now I can do that. And I am confident in the fact that having your program and having the follow-up and the support and the practice is, you can't put a price on it, because it's
Right.
amazing.
Absolutely.
It's something that I even told other people. I said, you need to do it. Just do it. It's not, it's an investment in yourself. And I can honestly say that it has helped me in more ways than one.
That's amazing. I love that. What about the interviews? You have an interview coming up today. What's that position for?
That is for an instructional position in a healthcare company.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yes, I'm excited about it. I can't wait. It was a diamond in the rough. I don't know how, but I was in the techniques and everything that I learned about how to search for different things. I found it, and I said, I'm applying, and I'm just going to, I know I can do these positions, I can do that. And so I had the confidence, and I actually
went for it.
Yeah. And I followed the plan, and the plan worked, and I got a response right away. And I was, they conversed with me and said, hey, what is this? And then, do you have time tomorrow to complete an interview? And I said, yes. And
yes, I do.
No worries, whatever.
That's amazing. Yay, so, congratulations. Yes. Is this your first interview?
For them, yes.
What about since we've started working with you?
Since you started working with me, I've had multiple virtual interviews where it was a computer that I was answering questions for, and I would have to send it in. But I've made it to first and second round interviews for different companies, and even that a handful of just first time interviews. So I've had lots of practice.
Amazing.
So
are you? Yeah, for sure. And I can tell the difference too in your level of confidence, now compared to when we first met each other. Are you seeing more interviews and just better traction, better quality opportunities come through than you did before we met and before you worked with us?
Yes, yes. The other positions that I were applying for weren't what I should be applying for. I could do way more than what those were requiring. And having met y'all, it was it helped so much.
Mm-hmm. Now you feel confident. Do you feel like the LinkedIn networking we trained you on and the specific job search strategies we trained you on outside of just doing like cold applications, do you feel like that's been pretty helpful for you so that you're not spending so much time on applications anymore?
Yes, it has helped me to learn that process and how to do the
Mhm.
searching and everything like that. I believe it's helped me narrow down where I need to look and what I need to look for in those job descriptions,
Yes.
and I'm able to narrow down, oh, yes, oh, no, and
Yes.
even the process of after you apply what you need to do. I loved
Know what to
that.
do now.
I know exactly
Yeah.
what to do.
Exactly. And it makes the process exciting and more enjoyable when you know what you're doing and you know that you're good at something, whether it's changing careers, the job search process, networking, like in your own career. Like the more confident you feel in your abilities, the more likely you are to enjoy something. So I feel
Yes.
like you're definitely more excited now about job searching than you were when we initially met. It was kind of like a chore, like a drag before, something that was just time consuming and you just wanted to get it over with. However,
Right.
now that you're, in the process and you're developing these skills and you know you're going to be able to use them into the future, I feel like it's definitely been a more enjoyable process for you that you're actually able to kind of like lean into and like use as a learning opportunity too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. For
That's
sure. Definitely.
amazing. What would you say to somebody who is, you kind of touched on this earlier, but what would you say to somebody who isn't sure about hiring a career coach, or maybe they don't even know about career coaches or what we do, or who is even on the fence with investing in help, because they just don't know if that's going to be a worthwhile investment, or maybe they think that they can do this on their own? What would your advice be to somebody in that situation?
My advice would be, for lack of better terms, just do it.
Just do
If
it.
you
Yeah.
have the capabilities to do it, it's think about it as an investment in yourself. That
Yep.
it's only going to make you a better person as much as the information is that you'll learn. You as a person will grow and learn to understand that you are capable of so much more. And having the girl work it team
Mhm.
working behind you and saying you got
We
this
can do
is
this. Yeah.
definitely worth it. So
Mhm.
just do it.
Absolutely.
Trust the process. It's
Yes.
worth it.
Yes.